Welcome back to RFL. On the street, it goes by names like smack, horse, black tar, among many other names. And tonight, heroin is our focus. We are taking a close look at the rampant spread of this deadly drug across not just the region, but right here in our region. Experts say more teens are experimenting with a highly addictive drug than in any time in recent memory. Doctors say heroin users usually begin abusing prescription painkillers that a teen might even find in a medicine cabinet at home. Shockingly, get this, about 40% of high school seniors say they don't think it's harmful to use heroin once or twice. Experts, however, say an addict must have heroin every 8 to 12 hours to avoid the excruciating pain that comes with withdrawal. Craig Ames' story, it is sadly a typical one. He's a recovering heroin addict who first began experimenting as a teen with medicines he found in his parents' bathroom. We met Craig recently, and he opened up and spoke very honestly about his demons and how he struggles every day to stay clean. Started using around 18, you're 30 now, and really give as much as you can, a snapshot of the last 12 years of your life.
Okay. Started using marijuana and stuff in high school and things like that. I took my first prescription painkiller at 18, about that. Just continued on. Friends, everybody was a new thing, everybody was doing it and stuff like that. I ended up getting a rare disease in my leg. I was in the hospital for like 3 weeks and was prescribed painkillers. Eventually those ran out, and I was addicted to them and continued buying illegally and stuff like that. It got bad, I knew it was bad, and then I decided I needed to do something different. I joined the military to escape, get away. That worked for a while, and then shockingly I got another rare eye disease, another marine bacteria, where I was pretty much blind for about 3 months, where I was prescribed Percocets and stuff like that. I got better, but I was still addicted and continued to purchase, pills illegally. Then the scene changed, on the streets. Pills got real expensive. We're talking $1 a milligram, $30 for a small pill. And then eventually they became impossible to get, but the addiction was still there. And then magical heroin came around.
About a year and a half ago, right?
Yeah, about a year and a half ago. If you asked me 2 years ago, I would have told you crazy doing heroin. But it started. I never shot it. I snorted it.
And that, if I could interrupt you, that's part of it, because the image, and I'm sure even you had it, was you got to be some street junkie shooting up with a needle looking for a vein here. But now, as we've heard over this conversation we've had with so many folks, people can snort it, people can smoke it. It's a lot less expensive than people may realize right now, and it's everywhere. It's
everywhere. In all honesty, it's easier to find heroin than it is to find marijuana now, 100%. I can't even describe the scale. Being in the streets, if you will, it's everywhere. It really is. People I would never even expect. I always kept my addiction to myself. My friends don't use, they drink, but I always kept it to myself and stuff. And then slowly over the past year and a half, it was just amazing how many people I saw were actually using heroin.
I know it's hard to put it, to articulate this, but can you explain for folks who've never gone down the road what the high of the high is like with heroin and the low of the low of it?
Okay. The high of the high. You go to a doctor, even with prescription painkillers, because they're pretty interchangeable. To me, it's, why do they give you that pill? To make you feel better, to make you feel good. So you do it and you feel good, you feel great. But once you stop, your bones start aching, you start sweating, and then the withdrawals are horrendous. You pretty much want to kill yourself, that's how bad it is. It's almost impossible to stop by yourself. You would have had to have handcuffed me to a wall physically just so I wouldn't go and get it. It's just that feeling is so atrocious or bad, that's why people don't even want to think about it and just keep using. It just keeps progressing and progressing and getting worse and worse. It just makes you a slave. All you care about is getting high, and then I would go on along my day. It became more of a maintenance program rather than getting high.
Can you be functional and be an addict?
Yes. I've had a job my entire life.
Really?
A very good job. I'm a plumber in the city. Went to work every day, high, pretty much. But like I said, it was like a maintenance program. It wasn't like getting high like you picture people like, I was just going through my daily routine. And if I didn't use, I wouldn't go to work. I'd have to sit home and go through withdrawals until I either found something else or, moved on.
One of the things, Craig, that, again, I've had law enforcement say, people are coming up to see if we're carrying Narcan because that's how frequently they're seeing overdoses right now. There was this impression that people got to heroin, it was like the last step on an evolutionary ladder where they'll start with marijuana and only the extreme of the extreme. But we're seeing people get to it literally in their teens now, and the addiction happens so fast. It can grip you so quickly, right? That
instantly. You feel great. Who doesn't like to feel great? But, that runs out eventually, and you just want to chase that high. You just keep chasing it, and you'll never get there again, ever.
What do you say to this parent sitting at home and said, no, it definitely couldn't happen to my kid? Use the benefit of the last tough decade you've had of your life and tell them what maybe they don't want to hear, but it's the truth. It could be anybody's kid, right?
It can be anybody's kid. Some people I know, it's the same thing. It's just parents, they would never know. Because just like I said, I snorted it. You don't see track marks. You don't see it. All you see is when I'm not using, when I'm sick or whatever like that.
Are you, right now, I know you slipped, but you've been clean for the last couple months. What do you hold on to hope that this time is going to be different than the last time? What recovery is so hard. It's not some simple thing. Everyone has explained to me what it takes to go through it. But what do you have to do and other people who are recovering to stay sober? You
have to want it. That's the first thing. If you don't want to stay sober and, get better, you'll never will. It starts with the person 100%. And then, there's things to help you along the way. Me personally, I was prescribed Suboxone. It's really helped me because I've used for so long, I didn't know how to live my life without the drug itself. Suboxone has helped me go through my everyday life without going and getting high.
But what people don't realize, and I learned this for this conversation, this isn't something that's subsidized. You got to go in your own pocket for all of this, and for a lot of people, you have a good job and you can afford it, and it's not easy. Yeah. Is that part of the problem that other addicts
100%.
They can't pay to stay clean even if they want to?
Well, here's the thing. The average heroin addict isn't going to have the initial whatever it is, almost $600. You see the doctor, which is whatever, $150, then the evaluation, which is another $100, whatever, and then the prescription itself for the month is about $300-400. I'm prescribed weekly. I get a weekly, supply. Cost me $111 yesterday, which, is a lot of money, but compared to my use, that'd be one day of using, pretty much. But it is incredibly expensive, and if the average person doesn't have that initial money to go and they'll never be able to do it. But the thing with Suboxone is you can get it illegally, absolutely. I've gotten it illegally, I've used it illegally, and I'd stay clean for a week, couple weeks, but you really need to go to therapy with it 100%. And that's one thing that's really helped me with.
And you can't say enough good things about the people at the treatment program you're at,
I really can't. Saved my life, As for right now, I'm happy, I'm clean, and they really have saved my life in a sense, because if you use, you're either gonna get clean, end up dead, or end up in jail. Those are the three options, and I'd like to take the first option, you know.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so.
You optimistic you're on that right road?
Yeah, I am. I mean, I've been doing it so long, it's just like enough, and every day is like a new day. I wake up, I can smell things, like I wake up. It's really amazing, to be completely honest with you.
Well, I know I speak for everybody. We wish, I know it's a tough road you got, and nobody's got to tell you that. You know it better than anyone, but we wish you the best luck on it. And I also want to say thank you. It takes a lot of courage to share a personal story, especially one that's a hard one. And you did that, and I'm sure, I'm positive, in fact, there's people at home that are relating to exactly what you're going through, and they don't think they're going to be able to make it, but the answer is they can if they want it bad enough, right?
Yeah. And people, believe it or not, people do care. They really do. You know, and if your kid or whoever, just tell them you love them and mean it, and just be there for them. And that's really the best. That's the best you can do as a parent. Just be there and supportive, and you know, and realize people do mess up. But as long as their focus is getting better, then you got to support them. You know.
I do. Craig, I really appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Coming up next, a former DEA special agent puts the scope of this crisis in perspective for us, and he also tells us why you at home should be concerned.